Welcome to episode 8. Is it 8?
It's 8.
I'm losing count already. 8 episodes and I'm losing count.
Not a good sign. Alright, today we're gonna be...
Hey, this is Ruben, by the way.
By the way, yes, I'm sorry. I failed to do this all the time. I guess I know who I am and I know who he is, but you guys may not. So I'm Ruben Serrano, this is Aram Hovsepian. We are your workout master, personalities.
We're going to talk about metabolic typing today.
Right. What is metabolic typing?
What is metabolic typing? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Ultimately, metabolic typing is a trademark by the Health Excel Corporation.
Health Excel Corporation,
Health
that's
Excel.
correct. It's a great tool to identify how we individually should be eating.
Exactly.
What are our natural, genetic, inherited predispositions that we have to eat more of certain food and avoid certain amount of other foods.
So we touched up a little bit on this subject.
Yes.
On episode 3. So refer to episode 3 if you just got to episode 8 right away and listen a little bit about the basics of nutrition and blood sugar regulation.
Yeah.
But ultimately what we also talked about that it is important to find your own fuel.
That's right.
For your body, because we all human, but we have different fuels that fuel us.
That's correct.
Like within category of humans, he's human, I'm human. Like in a car category, there's a lot of cars, but they run on different fuels.
That's correct. You have, gasoline, you have diesel engines, you have high performance engines that require high quality fuel. So you gotta find what fuel works for you. And It doesn't make you less or higher performance, whatever your genetically predispositions are. It just means that you need different type of fuel to function.
Ultimately, we don't believe that it is your choice.
No, it's not.
It's your job to provide. So you would want to find out what your metabolic type is.
Yes.
And then follow it. So the best thing you can do, you can buy a book called Metabolic Typing by William Walcott, and I'll make sure there's a links to the site where you can actually buy those books. Yeah. There's a basic test. Take it.
Yeah.
You'll actually learn quite a lot from it.
Right. The tests are very in-depth to a degree, and it asks you for a lot of specifics of how you react to foods, how do you feel when you eat certain foods, and those reactions, they pretty much are the symptoms that you should be listening to tell you whether the food that you're eating is agreeing with your purpose or not.
Exactly. If you want a more advanced test, you can always contact us and we'll be happy. We have an advanced test that costs a little extra. It's also an excellent tool. It's just a little bit more precise than the free one.
Start with the one in the book, and it will give you a very good approximation of what you need to be. If you need to do more specifics, give us a call.
Exactly.
We'll guide you in the right direction.
Okay, so we have 3 metabolic types we differentiate.
Right.
We have a protein type,
a carb,
and a mixed type. Yeah.
And we can fall in any way of those ranges. All right. So let's not get people classified into 3 groups, because that will be kind of making a great mistake.
Absolutely.
If we have 100 people, we have 100 types, because everybody's going to have their own specifics, and we want to make sure that we guide you to the closest we can without having to go into further testing.
Exactly. So even if you test yourself and you come up as a protein type, it's not written on the wall, your protein type, and you're always going to be protein type.
Nope.
There's ranges of protein types.
Right.
And your job is to find out where you are within that category, or you might actually move, depending.
You can vary and you can change from one type to the other as your body heals, as your body gets better. But what's more important to understand is that it's a very close approximation to where your body is going to make better fuel out of the food that you have chosen to make your fuel.
Exactly. You can have your what's called a genetic type. That's what you're born to be.
Right.
And there could be a functional type. That's where you're functioning right now.
Right.
Let's say if you were deficient in a lot of protein or a lot of carbohydrates for whatever reason, you can switch to more of a functional type.
Right.
And that functional type gonna show a deficiency.
Yes.
But if you start providing, then deficiency gonna diminish, and you're gonna come closer to what your genetic type is.
That's correct. Let's not get people confusing that. So we said that we have protein, a mix, and a carb type.
There you go.
They have different ranges of what those macronutrients, which macronutrients we understand is the protein, the fat, and the carbohydrate, should be. So for example, as a general rule, and to give you an approximation, a protein type has what percentages of what?
70% of protein and fat,
Right.
and 30% of carbohydrates.
Right, and let's make that clarification. 70% of protein and fat, because protein and fat, they usually come together. Animals, they have both.
Yeah.
In many cases. There's going to be a few exceptions, like avocado and nuts that are higher on fat than they are actually in carbohydrate and protein. But typically what we consider protein, when we say the word protein, is always going to be the fat that the animal has with the meat put together.
Okay. Right. And then we have a carb type will be basically opposite to it, so it will be 70% comes from carbohydrate source.
Right.
And
20 about
30,
protein.
Yeah, 20 protein and 10 fat.
And 10 fat.
So 30
right.
together, approximately.
And then the mixed type in the middle.
Somewhere in the 50-50. 50 protein
and
50 fat, yeah,
right.
and 50 carbs. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the three metabolic types. Whichever
right.
you're going to come out, that's where you're going to function. That's how your plate going to look like.
That's correct. So
to start with.
Right. So to start with, you can say protein type. The meat is going to be, the plate is going to be about 70% meat and fat, which come together, and the other 30% is going to be your vegetable or your fruit or whatever it might be. If we have the carb type, 70% is going to be carbohydrate, and the other 30% is going to be meats and veggies. And when you have the mixed type in the middle, well, guess what? The plate is almost like a split in half, 50-50. 50% protein and fat, 50% carbohydrates.
There you go. Just to give you an idea, because some people have visual, think of protein type generally going to have a big, let's say, steak
right.
with a little side dish of vegetable.
That's correct.
A mixed type generally going to get really satisfied from a piece of white fish and pretty big salad with it.
Right.
And a carb type will be very much satisfied from a big salad.
Right.
With just a little bit of something on top.
Yeah, some type of a light
protein.
Fish or
light fish or
yeah,
protein.
Yes.
Yeah, some kind of chicken. So it's Caesar salad, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Something like that. So just so you can visualize the things.
Right.
All right.
Now, one of our main objectives is to educate you to the best that we can and according to the availability and the time that you have. So one thing that we're going to start doing more and more as we approach topics that could be more complex is to indicate you where can you find the sources that we have gotten that information. First of all, we don't want you to take our word for it. We want you to challenge everything that we tell you, and we have resources that we can share with you. We'll be more than happy. That's why we have mentioned already the Metabolic Type Diet by William Walcott. There's another book that is fantastic. It was written in 1956. The author is Ryan Williams, and the name of the book is called Biochemical Individuality. It's a fantastic book because it will open. Yes, you do. It will open your eyes to things that you never thought about that will be really important. So there you get a visual of what the front of the book looks like. Read it. It's fantastic. Another book that we recommend all the time to our students and to our clients is How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. Paul Chek happens to be one of our mentors. The man is fantastic at what he does. I don't know anybody that can actually do so much with so little. That's how smart he is. He can grab concepts that are far beyond sometimes human understanding, and he can put it into very, very simple information pieces that people can actually grasp really, really easily.
And use it for their advantage.
And use it, absolutely. It's not just about reading and what do you do with it. Well, it's useless information. It's just taking a space